In this sexy tea-stained video, I'm going to explain why the Tatuus USF 17, which runs in the Cooper Tyres USF 2000 Championship, is perhaps one of the most underrated cars on iRacing. Now, you're joining us in the car with one of our most recent races in the Tatuus USF 17, and it's a really good example of your standard type of race with this vehicle, and I have to say it does produce great racing, though not for that red car and not for that green car. Yes, they managed to do the traditional crash before the first corner. Credit where credit's due, at least they didn't crash into anyone whilst weaving around trying to warm the tyres up. Which I'm not quite sure why people do, because from the races I've done, top split, it doesn't seem to make that much difference to performance, and the statistical likelihood that you're going to crash into someone whilst trying to warm the tyres up is much higher than the benefit you're going to get from having a few centigrade more in your wheels. But what do I know? What do I know? As long as I'm out of the way and they crash and don't hit me, keep doing it, guys. It's fantastic. I need all the freebies I can get. So the first and perhaps most important reason as to why this is one of the better iRacing cars is that it's relatively forgiving to drive. Specifically, you can slide it around quite a lot while still having a decent amount of control. Now, the slides are a bit protracted and it is a little bit sledgy, but you've got that margin there to play with and the ability to make a mistake without it ruining your race. And then, of course, as you get better, you can dial it down, which will produce faster lap times. It sort of encourages you to drive better without ruining your day. It's literally the opposite of the Formula V. Oh dear. Unfortunately, both drivers were confirmed dead. Let's send some free tyres to their families and loved ones. That corner is the corner of criminality. 4 cars we've lost so far, and it's only the second lap. Now, don't get me wrong, when it comes to the Formula V, that is, I actually really enjoy the Formula V. For me, the experience is like having a little sledge with bombs attached to it. Proximity mines, the GoldenEye proximity mines. Yes, I'm that old. It's like a proximity mine vehicle. I enjoy that suffering and pain because I'm a sim racing masochist. So, but the point is, this car is actually easier to drive than a Formula V. It's a lot more progressive. It's a lot more forgiving. It's a lot more catchable. And on the subject of the rookie cars that would then lead to this, what I think is if you've got used to the Skip Barber, for example, this makes sense. Like this follows the same kind of handling logic as a Skip Barber. If you were to make a Skip Barber faster and you were to put some wings on it and increase the speed with a 175 horsepower Mazda developed 2-litre engine. So it's nothing like a Skip Barber. But you'll see what I mean, like the general slidey profile of it, despite this having slick tyres on it and the Skippy having road tyres, if you're, ignore what's real, if you're going from a Skippy to this, it will kind of make sense to you. Also, the draft racing, and look at this, 4, this little traffic jam, we've got 2 wide, 2 sets of 2 wide in front of us. He goes a little bit loose there. I was going to go for a little sniff, but at this point in the race, I'm thinking, I've noticed I've got the pace to actually beat these guys, and I'm thinking, someone is going to be hospitalised here. Hospitalised? Hospitalised. That's actually a weird word to say. Someone's going to be hospitalised, and it's not going to be me, so I'm trying to keep a distance, being aware of the inevitable accident, and then being aware of a position to exploit it. But the temptation to take advantage of the draft and just plough through is always there. It's you've got to hold back the child race driver inside you. But this what you can see here, with these cars all going side by side through relatively technical sections at a reasonably fast speed, is something that I often find lacking in iRacing with a lot of its cars, in that either the car itself doesn't have the bite and purchase of the track to really allow the cars to go side by side closely through it, or they're so fast that most people can't handle it, or when they slide too much so that they're just going to understeer into the other car and take them out, or they don't have enough speed with the sliding such that if someone drives offline, they're just going to drop behind the car that's on the line. Like, there's only one line to drive. So this actually gives the dynamics of this vehicle, the sort of general tyre grip profile, with the downforce especially on tracks like this with the long corners. It all goes together to make great racing, and it's very similar to the type of racing you have with the Skippy. Now, you saw what happened there. We had to back out of it a bit. I was going to go for a move, and then I saw the other car go for a move on me. I just backed out of it to let him through. I'd rather not have the accident, and unfortunately that cost us 2 places, but it doesn't matter. You know, with cars like this, you know when you've got the general pace, what pace you're at on the track, and then you know with the draft you can sort of retake it back. Even though this is only a 15-minute sprint race, you've got the opportunity to actually work yourself forwards there due to the draft. And again, very similar to the Skip Barber, that draft acts as a sort of Super Mario catch-up mechanism, which really helps alleviate the benefit people get from just doing monotonous Guitar Hero hot lapping. As long as you stay within a draft range, you can undo that rote memorization component, which then compacts the field and just makes for more compelling racing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not that interested in just doing loads of hot lapping I've won the race because I've just hot lapped the actual race. I'm here for racing. That's the point of like paying for online racing with other people, and you know, having ranking and stuff. So you're racing with people, side by side, battling, racecraft, not hot lap craft. But maybe that's a sentiment not shared by everyone. As we see a demonstration of how not to go up the inside of someone on that corner. 3 down. Unfortunately, that's another 3 fatalities. More tyres donated to their families. Beautiful moves though. I'm enjoying the gifts. It's literally a Christmas race. As a piece of advice for this car, and generally in iRacing, you really want to be on the inside of corners. If you're on the inside, no one's going to understeer off into you. Anytime I'm on the outside of a corner, my heart rate increases, and I have to make sure that I've got a defibrillator on the wall, because the slightest of contacts and you're gone. And of all the simulators, iRacing, when it comes to online car contacts, combined with invisible ghost hits and interesting netcode, shall we say, it is definitely the least forgiving for car contacts. Though, I have had a few little taps with this car. I think, from my perspective, it's if you tap someone in the back with this car, it causes craziness. You can get away with a little bit of side taps on the high-speed corners. I think the downforce helps to mitigate the contacts. But look at this. Now we have a pure battle with Thomas Hardy. And one thing I do really enjoy in driving sims is, especially with Formula cars, when you're absolutely poning it around a track. Obviously, I'm not an alien, but from my perspective, I'm poning it. And you've got a car right in front of you, and you can see there the bodywork bouncing on the road surface, and you can see those undulations of all the track details. It's a really nice thing you get from laser scan tracks, and looks absolutely fantastic. As we go for the send up the inside here. Now, I'm really nice and generous, so if I'm on the inside, I actually will brake earlier, so I obviously don't understeer into the car to my outside. But if you're on the outside, you have to expect the car on the inside to understeer off into, and that's what Thomas Hardy there, he just backed out of that because he did the correct thing and assumed that I'm a terrible driver. So, nice safe driving from him. And the thing is, again, you've got the draft, and if both cars have a reasonable amount of pace, you can choose to give it up. It's not like, oh, that's going to be your only chance to overtake. You'll probably have another chance in the future. You can chill out. You can wait for your moment to pounce. Again, very much like the racing in the Skippy, which I personally enjoy. Anything that magnifies racecraft. So outside of the handling, though, and the general forgivingness of this car to drive, the real question is, why is it not more popular? Like, why do iRacers on the surface gravitate to stuff that's genuinely worse for racing? I mean, GT3 is particularly egregious for this, not just in iRacing but also in ACC. They are not conducive to better racing. Like, I think some people get confused between, oh, the whole grid is compacted and bumper to bumper, but they can't really overtake particularly, and they're not actually battling. They confuse that with good racing because the grid's close versus good racing because drivers are knitting like grannies corner to corner. I mean, look at that overtake from Thomas Hardy there as he retakes it. It's 2 and 4th. It's a proper battle. It's like a proper sword fight going on here. This is Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. I'm going to cause Thomas Hardy to crash, and his helmet will come off, and he'll be my father. Sorry for those of you that I've just ruined Star Wars. Mind you, I can't ruin Star Wars more than Disney can, so it doesn't matter. But this was just one race, obviously. We've done quite a few races in this car, and it's been the amount of good battles that have occurred and the quality of driving that's occurred has been through the roof relative to other series where mostly it's people just driving into you or doing dumb things, partly because they're bad drivers, but also partly because those cars are unforgiving to drive or don't offer that many opportunities for actual good racing. Now look at that. Tom Hardy defended the inside that time because he knew that the previous lap I went up the inside. He's better off being on the inside. He adapted like the Borg. I'm now on the outside. I try and hook it through here and then get back onto his inside. Again, we've got multiple lines that are reasonably successful through this track and with this car, thanks to its downforce and the envelope of grip from its tyres. Now we're going to the right. He's staying on the left. And we're going to try and send it up the inside on this corner. The bump on the inside of the curb in here can unsettle the car and you lose a bit of speed. So we couldn't quite get the exit. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. This is what racing is about for me. Proper, locked into battle. And it doesn't have to be for first place either. This is the great thing with sim racing in general. You could be battling for 10th place. I mean, unless you're like racing for prize money or it's esports, having close battle that's pushing you as far as possible with another driver they're being pushed as far as possible and you're both interacting, and as a result it's just, can you beat that other person, and are the dynamics of the race you're actually having decent? That's more important than winning. Is exactly the type of thing a loser would say. It's all I can get. It's all I can. I'm not going to win many things, so you've got to focus on what you can win. And that is good battles with other drivers that are low skilled like myself. But look at this, he's holding the inside through that corner all the time. And to be honest, I would always defend that corner on the inside. And he actually managed to get through that with more speed there as well, so I wasn't even able to get around the outside at all. But again, he seems to be rather slow through this right-hander hook, which keeps allowing me to get up onto the inside and get the send in there. And unfortunately for him, he ran out of track. So he managed to actually get it to stick that time up the inside, and he gave up on it. I think he could have actually kept his foot in a bit more at high speed. As long as you're not on the outside of the corner with too much lean on the outside tyre, this car allows you to actually put a wheel a little bit on the grass without it just insta-killing you like some cars. The curbing on the left here actually does insta-kill you if you put your wheels on it. I think it bounces the car, which unsettles it. But on that corner, I think he could have kept his foot in there and he probably would have been alright. Now it's a case of run away with the bank money and hope that the police don't catch you. Drive away with the bank money. I don't know why am I running away with the bank money. You can't carry that much bank money, it's quite heavy. Run away with the bitcoins. Oh no, you get halfway down the street and they've lost all their value. Oh well. See, still have the draft to get back up the inside. Look at that, and I should have defended it. I don't know why I didn't. I was being a noob. He didn't quite have enough speed to get the pass in though. So maybe I did the correct decision, because the faster line is to enter that on the left-hand side. If I'd have compromised my line to defend the inside preemptively, maybe he could have gone around us. So maybe I did the right thing. We didn't crash. So maybe I did do the right thing. It's hard. That's the fun dynamic of that, is you sort of, the tactical decision of, do I compromise my entry to be defensive, or is it better to actually not do that and get a better speed and then maybe get a bit of a run moving forward? So the remaining thing to really say is, why? Why is this USF 2000 not more popular on the service? There's enough participation with it to get at least 1 or 2 splits most time of the day with 15 cars in it. So it's not dead. You can get good racing with it, It's there to race. There are cars on the service that are literally dead most of the time. But I think what happens with this is that, as I say, a lot of people go to sort of GT3 stuff. Despite this, in my opinion, this car's easier to drive than a GT3 car. and more conducive to actual racecraft and interesting situations than GT3 car. I get it. It doesn't have Ferrari or Porsche written on it. So, although in my mind, Tatus is a sexier brand. Give me a Radical and a Tatus, and that's me. And I don't need these handbag car brands. I'm all into my race cars. I get that, but then the thing is, the faster Formula car, people aspire to drive like the F1 car. They're like, oh, I can't wait to get onto iRacing to drive the F1 car. And it's like, but the racing is worse. First of all, modern Formula 1 cars are terrible. I know that's controversial, but they are goddamn awful for racing in reality. Hopefully 2022 season fixes things a little bit. But like IndyCar is better than modern Formula 1. If we're talking about racecraft and racing and tactics, F2 is better than F1. We'll have that rant another time. That's another video. That's an objective fact. That's not even an opinion. Deal with it. So it's weird to aspire to that in iRacing. The Formula 1 car's too hard for the vast majority of iRaces to handle. Though in fairness, it is easier than the Formula V. But we'll put that to one side. Also, the faster the cars get, the more they exacerbate netcode issues and car contact issues. So again, it's like this spec, this car, if you ignore preconceived notions of, oh, what's desirable to drive, and you focus on what's actually likely to produce good quality races, fixed setup, USF 2000, or I should say USF 17, good times. The only thing that really ruins this series is iRacing. For some reason, they always tend to pick absolutely terrible tracks in terms of car track combos. And half of the season for the USF 2000 is on tracks that make no sense to drive with this car. So I think by the time it gets back to tracks that are actually really good with this car, half the users they've gone off. They've gone off to something else that is racing on decent tracks. So like the Radical tends to race on really good tracks. But yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. Whoever picks the tracks at iRacing, they're probably drunk on craft brew IPAs and they don't care. But well, there you go. All told though, the lesson of this video is that the USF 17 is underrated, and if you play iRacing, you should give it a blast because you'll probably have a good time. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video. If not, I'm surprised you got this far through it. That wouldn't make much sense. Do something else with your time. But if you did, click the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel, and also follow us on Twitch where we live stream a lot of iRacing and other simulators. But until the next one, guys, happy sim racing, happy tea drinking, and goodbye.